before where you were unemployed because of the workload. In other words, meaning that you had to walk away from your job because you feel as if the workload was overwhelming or it was too much and it was too much pressuring. Yeah, I've been there too. I've been there before. So I remember a couple of years ago, I was working at this particular place, and as I was working there, I realized that the task that was given to me, it was so great that I believe strongly that one person was not enough to carry out that task. But anyway, I was the only person that doing it, and over a while, because I keep on doing it without complaining, I realized it keep on increasing, and they didn't seek to get anyone else to fill the gap that the work could be shared evenly. So after a period of time, I get fed up, and I think it was too much. I became frustrated by how much task it was. The workload was unevenly shared and it was pressuring. So I decided to walk away from that job. So I'm sharing this just so we could talk about today's topic that we want to look at is the workload or the uneven workload. All right. So for us to first and foremost understand what is workload. Workload refers to the total amount of work or task assigned to someone or a system within a specific period. In other words, the quality of work expected to be done by a person in a given time frame. It can be described as heavy when the amount of work is significant or overwhelming. So a workload is typically the amount of work that is given to a person to complete in a time frame. So there's a time span that is given for you to complete that task that is given unto you. And when it is heavy, that is when it becomes a workload. So with that being said, we have to also realize that there's a difference and a challenge of opportunities depending on the roles and the legal status. Understanding difference helps employees design better policies and manage their workforce more effectively because the workload at times can be uneven between both a casual or a permanent staff. All right, so at time to times we realize that you could be a permanent staff, you could be a casual, but the reality behind that is that from time to time you realize that the workload is so epic and you feel as if it is not sheer even enough. All right, so what are some of the things that can cause uneven workload? Staffing levels. If there are not enough employees to handle different tasks, the workload can be distributed unevenly, causing some workers to take one more task than others or to take on more tasks than others. So when the staffing does not add up, in other words, in Jamaica, they will say short staff. So that means you are short of employees or unrealistic expectations from management can lead to an increase in workload. Tight deadlines or constant demands of high performance can result in employees carrying heavier loads. All right, so for example, let's say that you are employed in a fast food restaurant or a fast food organization. Now, in this fast food organization, the traffic or the customers that visit there daily is high. Now we know, as you could put yourself in the shoes to fit it, that if you go into a fast food restaurant or if you turn up to a restaurant or somewhere that sells food and you order your food, you don't like to wait too long for your food. So nevertheless, based upon the demand of that organization, you know that you will have to learn to work under pressure. And working under pressure means that you have to serve and give your best customer service to your customers on time and very much pleasantly. So no customer would want to be waiting for their food over 1 hour, as they are gonna become disgruntled. So this organization is gonna demand from you to work with speed, for you're working in a high pressure organization where the environment has a lot of customer come in daily or comes in on a regular basis. And when it gets crowded, nobody likes to wait. So you cannot go there and expect to work slow or to move slow as if you're a snail. So due to the speed and the demand, you can become overworked. So the workload become epic, especially when a person do not turn up for work and you have to fill a next person gaps. That means you are functioning in the area that you are placed to function in, and also you have to fit to operate in a next person position that did not turn up for duty. For example, like if you go to KFC or Burger King and you realize that probably someone is short for the day, someone didn't turn up, whatsoever the case may be, probably it's an emergency or whatever the case may be, you realize that the server sometimes also have to be the cashier. So after they cash, they have to leave to go and serve. And that's where the customer becomes disgruntled, because they are saying that you are taking too long from time to time. Alright? Our next point there is workforce experience and skills. Workforce experience and skills. We can look at that there. So employees with more experience or specialized skills may be assigned more challenging tasks, leading to a heavier load. Conversely, experienced workers may have simpler, less time consuming work to carry out. So as a skilled worker, let's say for example, I'm a skilled worker and my skill is that I'm a machine operator. So I operate machines, whatever types of machines it may be. So you know that when those heavy works come, that I'm the one that they're gonna call on to complete that task. So from time to time, probably I'm there and I'll be like, well, for those that are not a skilled worker, they have it easier than me, because they are given much easier tasks and their tasks take way less time than mine. Mine has to be so properly done. It's like it's like done to harder. So mine can take more time, take more technique, more skills to get it complete. When someone else task is way much easier and it takes less time to be complete. So with that being said, the workload is so serious that from time to time we can see this in many different organizations. And I guess we see this in a day-to-day life. That as we go there, at times, probably we show up at a supermarket, a restaurant, whatever place it might be, and we see some perfect example of things like these. When a staff, when a worker, whoever that person may be, casual, it doesn't matter, whoever you are, when you are overwhelmed by the workload, you become disgruntled, you become frustrated, you become stressful. That means you can't even think straight. You are so fatigued to the point that if John say ha to you, you're ready to cuss that person. You're ready to burst out at that person. But what we need to understand, when it comes on to the workload, if we feel as if it is not evenly shared and we think that we are overworked, we can go to our superiors and try to have a conversation to say, hey sir, hey madam, I think that I'm being overworked. I think that the work can be shared more evenly amongst everyone. I think I'm doing too much than what others that are in the same position as me are doing. Otherwise, from that, sometimes it is vice versa. So that means sometimes your superior, your manager, whoever that person may be, may see your potential and they are pushing you to your potential. One, you can be a person that is reliable. Two, you can be a person that is dependable. They can depend on you. They can rely on you. Meanwhile, they cannot depend on the other person. They cannot rely on the other person. So you can also use that as an advantage for the better of your growth. Otherwise, from that, what you can also do is take into consideration and speak with your leaders, your superior, your manager, your CEO, whosoever that person may be, that is set above you that you have to report to. You can ask the person, hey sir, hey madam, is it possible for me to have my job description? So that is one of the way that we can help to solve the workload issues. We can go and ask, can you provide me with a job description so that I may know all that which I'm expected to do, or all of that which I'm responsible for? So you want to know, in other words, what are your responsibilities? What are the tasks that you should carry out on a daily basis? Now, bear in mind, from time to time, sometime on your job description, you may realize that it may state that you can be asked to carry out additional tasks from time to time. So that means, I know, every day. But whilst the company is in need of it, they can say, hey, John, hey, Jane, is it possible for you to do this for me today? Can you stay back a extra 2 hours today to fill this for me? So rather than being disgruntled, because numerous of time we see this, where workers feel so disgruntled, feel so frustrated by the workload, for they are under so much pressure that they can't take it no more. They just make up their mind one day, or they just made up their mind one day that, hey, I'm gonna cuss out that boss and I'm gonna step off this job because I can't take this no more. And in Jamaica terms, you know what them say? A fool you take me for. And sometimes it may not be a case like that. Also, you can go to your leaders, go to your superior, and show them the challenge that you are faced with and ask them, sir, madam, is it possible that you can employ someone else to fill the gap? Because I feel as if this work is too much, meaning the assignment that is given is too much for one person. Don't be afraid. It's better for me to go and speak with those that are set above me or those who I report to than for me to just battle up everything inside until one day me get fed up and me just cuss out the boss or cuss out my superior or cuss out my co-worker and just decide say I eat that me nah go back. So I think we can participate in learning to reason more, learning to have a talk more. And bear in mind also that disagreement does not mean that we are against each other. Probably you can go and you share a point of view and the person disagree with what you are saying. But always remember, when you're gonna let your voice be heard about a matter, learn to present your strong reason. Are the reason that you are presenting to the person, can it persuade them enough? So present your strong reason first. So think about the reasons. For example, if I'm your boss and you're gonna come to me and say, hey, sir, I think that the workload is too much for me. Why? That's the first question. Why? And I'm gonna juke you with another question. What can I do? How can I make it better? Can you answer these questions? I'm just using these as an example. Can you answer these questions? If I'm supposed to ask you them, can you answer it? What can you do to persuade me enough that even if it is not in my budget to get another employee, can you persuade me enough that yes, it is necessary that I take the necessary step to employ someone else? So present your strong reason. And what we want to do is now to talk about what does the workload do to you. Excessive workload can have a significant effect on an individual mind, body, and spirit. Here are some potential consequences. So these are things that the workload can do to you. And I'm gonna give you 7 tips of what the workload do to you. Alright? So 1, mental fatigue. Prolonged heavy workload can lead to mental exhaustion. Exhaustion. Sorry about that. Say go man. Alright? So prolonged heavy workload can lead to mental exhaustion, where the brain becomes overwhelmed and struggles to focus or think clearly. This can reduce productivity and decision making ability. So when a person is mental fatigue, they cannot think straight. They cannot think straight. So even for basic decision, and or even if it is a critical decision making, they can make wrong decision because their minds are not in the place to think and focus properly. So they are not focused properly because they are mental fatigue. Stress and anxiety. That's the second one, stress and anxiety. A high workload can increase stress levels, so it increases the stress levels, leading to feelings of anxiety, worry, and pressure. Constant deadlines and workload demands can create a persistent sense of unease. So the constant workload, the constant workload, it can put a person unease because it demands a high quality of meeting deadline. So you realize that every minute the person sit down, and sometimes it can be where the person hand is at their jaw and they are just thinking about how am I gonna get this done? And you know what we say in JA in Jamaica, when a person hand their them jaw, them say stop worry. So it can be a case where the person is worrying and the person is thinking, and you realize that person has a lot of anxiety. They're always on the go, always on the go, always on the go. They have no time to not at least for 5 minutes stop and sit and have a proper conversation, because they're always thinking about, oh, I'm gonna do this, oh, I'm gonna do that, oh, I'm gonna do that. They want to meet the deadlines, so they are drowning in a lot of pressure and overload of the work. Physical exhaustion. Overworking without adequate rest can cause physical fatigue. And I think for many of us, we have been in that exhaustion. Yeah. Symptoms can include tiredness, lack of energy. Yes, that's a big one, lack of energy. Muscle strain, headaches, and overall physical burnout. And I think many of us have been in that position. I don't think I need to explain that. I think that's clear enough for all of us. Sleep disturbance, and you know that one can also consider as insomnia. That means you cannot get no proper rest. You always find yourself get up at a specific time and you can't go back to sleep. Yeah, these are all part of it. So sleep disturbance, the workload pressure can lead to sleeplessness or poor quality sleep. Stress and anxiety may make it difficult to relax, resulting in insomnia or disturbed sleep patterns. Our fifth one, burnout. State of emotion, physical and mental exhaustion. This often results in feelings of detachment from the work and lack of motivation. So in other words, you ever feel as if you're at work and you're not there at work, or you're at work and you're not there one day at work. So even though it's like your body present to work, but your spirit not there at work. So your mind not in the work. You're just there at work because you're burnt out. Weakened immune system. And I think this happened to 90% of persons many times, because we are so busy putting in so much that we do not realize that these things are happening. High levels of stress and physical exhaustion can weaken the immune system, making individual more victimable to illness like colds, infection, or chronic conditions. So that means, in other words, it's like you become a victim to sicknesses that are going around because the immune system is weak. The immune system is not strong. And for the last one there, that I'll be giving you is decreased motivation and job satisfaction. That's number 7. Over time, the continuous pressure of a heavy workload can lead to a lack of enthusiasm for work. This can diminish job satisfaction, affect well-being, erode purpose of fulfillment. So in other words, when you don't have any enthusiasm anymore for your job, your lack of motivation and job satisfaction. So you're not happy with your job anymore. One time you used to happy to put on your clothes and go to work. You even prep up yourself from overnight. Even one week or upon the weekend you press up your whole uniform them for work. You make yourself ready for work. You can't wait to go to work tomorrow morning. After a while you realize that you don't longer have that drive anymore. You're not even motivated. You're not even self-motivated anymore. Because you're feeling a bit of your lack of motivation and job satisfaction. So you don't feel satisfied with your work anymore. So when you don't have any more enthusiasm for your work, that means you don't have no more passion. And you know that many of the times it is your passion for your job that keeps you doing what you do. Because there's a special thing and a special philosophy that we can use here. And it is that a man can be fired from his job, but a man cannot be fired from his work, if you understand what I'm saying to you. So with that being said, I'm going to close that right there. And I'm looking forward to continue to come back and share some more very vital topics with you all. You can like, share, subscribe, tell somebody, invite somebody to watch. Drop a comment down in the box. Let me know what you think, where you're watching from, what you would like me to talk about. You can go ahead and do that. So until then, have a blessed good morning, good evening, or good night, wherever you are across this world. I greet you and I wish you all the best. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Drop your comments down below and let me know what you think.